If you knew this one simple technique for reducing stress years ago, you may have been able to deal with your stress better, reduce your high blood pressure and avoid a heart condition. But it's not too late. You can quickly learn the simple steps to creating coherence and balance in your cardiovascular system in only 5 minutes per day. These simple techniques will assist in prevention of further heart-related issues so you can live and stress less. Hi, this is Christian from Cardiac Rehab Online. Thank you for joining me today, and today it's all about the stress. So, stress is essentially the cause of pretty much all common diseases today, whether it's stress about finances, work, relationships, or something else. So if we look at the diagram here, we can see that there are several different types of stress. In fact, there's 6 different types. We have physical, chemical, electromagnetic, psychic and mental, nutritional and thermal. Now, for example, physical stress would be good stresses, we've got beneficial exercise, or bad stresses, over-exercising. Example for food would be the chemicals that are involved. We could have good, which would be organic food, balanced hormones, and the bad side of it would be synthetic. We've got drugs and pesticides which could be in the foods, and this would create stress. So the way that the body works is that all these different types of stress can build within us, and the body doesn't differentiate from where the stresses come from. It merely summates all of the different types of stresses, so it adds it all together and then has a reaction to it through the hormonal system. So this activates the autonomic nervous system and releases hormones. Now, if we have a healthy, balanced hormonal system, we will fluctuate throughout the day through the parasympathetic nervous system and the sympathetic nervous system. Now, the parasympathetic is dominant in the evening and when we're asleep. And this helps with anabolic hormones, which are for growth, repair, and digestion, for example. If we're suffering with a lot of stress, then what happens is the sympathetic branch of the nervous system will be operational throughout most of the day, so it will be overstimulated. And this activates catabolic hormones, which are breaking down. So we get too much stress, which basically equals too much cortisol. Then we end up with fatigue, breaking down of bodily tissues, a depressed immune system, decreased growth and repair, an inability to sleep properly, and also can affect the gut health and our ability to digest our foods properly. So what we have to do really about this is identify the external stresses and internal stresses and be able to deal with those effectively. So if we feel that stress is affecting us, we have to be able to manage it, because we always have stress in our lives in one form or another. And it's not avoiding the stress that's important, it's about being able to deal with it effectively. So firstly, we can identify the primary stressor. Then we can make a plan to deal with that. And we have to look after ourselves as well to be healthy. So that means regular movement and exercise, being able to eat and drink right, and the right amount of mental exercise. So challenging ourselves mentally, but then also taking time to relax, meditate, and be able to balance our thoughts. So the overview of this diagram is that the body summates all the different types of stresses and has a hormonal reaction to them. Then it places a lot of fatigue, breaking down of tissues, depresses our immune system, and we get decreased growth and repair, which eventually leads to illness or disease. Okay guys, so looking at this diagram that we have here, we can see we've got 3 different phases here. So we've got the normal, we've got phase 1, phase 2 and phase 3 at the bottom there. So as we go through this diagram, we can see that in the green section we have normal. So we're just going about life in a normal way and we feel pretty balanced, we have good energy and we're able to cope with whatever life throws at us. Then some kind of event will come along, and this is where we step into phase 1. So we will have acute distress, you can see in the yellow section there, and that's our ability to be able to combat the stresses that are placed upon us at this time. And we will be able to match the stress for a period of time, and it's different for everybody how long you'll be able to do this, until we get to the point here at the top of the graph with the question mark, where this is the point at which the stress is matching our energetic and our nutritional reserves to be able to meet it. And then from this point, it's a downward slope as we can no longer cope with the levels of stress that are placed upon us. So we're trying to adapt our bodies and our energy to the stresses, but we're no longer winning the battle. And then it's a slippery slope down into phase 2. And very often you can see people who are in this chronic distress phase by the fact that they often self-medicate with sugary drinks, caffeine, Red Bulls, anything like that that helps to pick up their energy, and also sugary foods, high carbohydrates. These are all indicators that you're losing the battle against the stress, and maybe you're not sleeping very well, so you need that little bit of extra energy to help get you through the day. And then if we continue on this trajectory, we end up into collapse, exhaustion, and failed adaptation in phase 3. And this is often where disease or serious ill health will be seen. Okay, so what can we do about it? Well, have you ever noticed how some people can become very angry, frustrated, or impatient with situations, whilst other people, not much seems to bother them. They tend to sail through life without getting overly upset by much at all. This is all about perception. Perception of how our internal environment reacts to the external environment, or how we view things outside of us. So here's an example. If we're very rigid and stuck in our ways, then when things don't go according to plan, we can react in a way that is stressful to our bodies, and over time can be very damaging. It's almost like driving a car with one foot on the accelerator, then one foot on the brake, and constantly going from one to the other, rather than gliding along at 70 down the motorway effortlessly. It's a lot more stress and strain on the systems of the body. So let me show you how you can glide along effortlessly and keep those stress levels in check. Now I want to introduce you to HeartMath, who have devised a system and wearable technology which has been scientifically proven to reduce stress. This means that by following the very simple techniques that I'm going to share with you today, in only 5 minutes a day, you can transform your stress levels and improve your heart health. You don't need any technology. All you need is to be able to focus your heart and your mind whilst breathing smoothly and evenly. The beauty of learning this technique is that you can do it anywhere at any time, and no one will even know that you're practicing it. So, number 1, breathing techniques have been scientifically proven to help the body in many ways. Detoxification, reducing muscle tension, and quietening the mind are just a few. Secondly, HeartMath Institute have scientifically studied how your thoughts and emotions will affect the way your heart works, and whether it is stressed or balanced, or what we call coherence. Now, did you know that the heart sends 20 times more information to the brain than the brain sends to the heart? The heart is running the show, not the brain. Is it time to become more heart-focused? Okay, number 3, mental health. Now, this is a huge topic at the moment, and rightly so. It influences how our physical body works and how it feels. For example, when we are stressed, we often get caught up in the mind, or the monkey mind, and this can often result in our neck and shoulders becoming very stiff and tight and causing tension headaches. Or we can have an upset stomach when overly nervous, stressed, or anxious. They are just a few examples of how the stress impacts us short term. Stress is also related to diabetes, sleep, problems with hormonal issues, weight gain, heart disease, and many other common health complaints today. So, are you guys ready to try out the technique? here we go. Before we begin the session, I'd just like to give you some tips. So it's important to feel comfortable during the session, and if you need to have a drink or move around, then please feel free to do so. Also, part of our practice is about experiencing pleasant and positive heartfelt emotions. Sometimes the feelings come quickly